very big thank you to you for joining us on today's episode of Daybreak Africa, the Thank God It's Friday episode. You're welcome to the interview segment, and today we'll be talking and going straight into the music industry. Today we'll be talking and be asking a lot of questions that's happening in the music industry. I'd like to start with the record industry, or record label, or record company, as many do call it. This is a brand or a trademark of music recordings and music videos, or the company that own it, record it, and also also in charge of the marketing to the public. They are also in charge of artist recruitment, making of videos, and advertising it for the people to consume, both on social media, online and offline. And joining me to discuss this conversation is Mr. Ben Omotoshola. He is a talent manager and also the CEO of a music group. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And how is your Friday coming on?
Good, good. Early morning, but you know, it's looking good.
Oh, great. So we're talking about record label Saga, and why do record labels fail? Why do we have artists break out from their record labels? Why do record labels and artists have issues? They sign a contract, in the next 3 months, everybody's going separate ways, and social media is a place where the person that comes first is the winner of the case. So now I'd like to start with, do you think record label is important for every artist?
A record label is it's a very, very important tool, and it's an important tool for every artist. It's a system and a structure that helps the artist, you know, elevate faster, because they have the structure and they have the resources already. So yes, it's a positive direction for every artist. You know, it's a positive direction for.
So what exactly is the need for a record label?
When you need a record label, I always tell talent or artists, when you need a record label is when you are in a position where you need to go from one point to another point, and you do not have the resources, you don't have the manpower, and you feel like a partnership or a collaboration with this entity or company will take you from the level where you are to a higher level.
Yes.
So that's when I feel like a record label is needed, and you should be willing as well to share profits and dividends as well.
Mr. Ben, you will agree with me that there is a music group which you own one, and there's a record label. What's the difference between the two?
So a music group and a record label is quite different. A music company rather and a record label is quite different. A record label is, you know, focused on discovering talent, harnessing the talent, you know, marketing the talent, you know, selling this talent as a commodity, exploiting all they can get out of the talents in terms of the audio, music, video, image, or whatnot, you know, exploiting that in the best way, the best capacity that they have, and also owning some parts of that rights that the artists have. But for a music group offers more than that. A music group or a music company offers more than that, and they also deal more on the day-to-day activities of these artists, you know, as opposed to just owning, you know, the rights of the artists. They can be paid for hire, but you know, the record label is more specific, while the music group is just a broader way
one.
of, you know,
okay, so going down the memory lane, going by what has happened between different record labels and artists, how they've been to the social media, how everybody's dishing out words. So let's talk about Kiss Danny and his record label. Then we can't really call what happened to Portable a record label thing, but then he also had issues when it was fast coming. Do you think the record labels and PR team overdo, or the artist overdo, or who is not getting it right among the two bodies?
Because I've been opportune to work on both sides of the aisle, I've seen the pros, the cons. I've seen where each, you know, party is, you know, having it or getting it wrong. But in most cases, I think the artists are usually the ones at fault. And I'll break it down because...
Please do.
Yeah, the artists, most times, they go into these deals blindfolded. They go into these deals with a wrong impression. They go into these deals with an assumption that, you know, this is my friend, or this is my guy, or these are my people. And they fail to understand that it's a business. They go into it with a lot of sentiment that, okay, these people, they should not, or they would not, or they could not do this to me, or they shouldn't do this to me. But there's a contract that is being agreed by both of you. So everything should go by the contract. So
yes.
they look at this contract and they just sign it. They don't. Some of them don't even have a good representative at the time. Sometimes it's even the record label that gives them a lawyer to use. So obviously the lawyer will be looking out for the record label. As harsh as it sounds, in the music business, we say you get what you negotiate. You don't get what is rightfully yours or what you think should be yours. You get what you negotiate. So they jump into these deals, and halfway or in between the deals, they start crying or they start complaining.
Permit me to quote into your conversations. If they jump into this deal blindfolded, like you said, don't you think on the part of the record labels, they are demanding for too much? Because if it is not choking them, definitely the record label will not leave. We've heard of artists that they are well known, and where they said they were being paid 30,000 naira in a month, some were being paid less than 100,000 naira in a month, and they are earning more for the record label. Don't you think it's the record label biting more than they can chew?
So, like I said, there are errors on both sides.
Okay.
But in biting more than they can chew, trust me, I've seen record labels that not just handle the portfolio of the artist. You see artists signing record labels and they tell the CEO of the record label, my mom is sick, I need to write my exam, these things are not in the contract. I need money for this, I want to go here, I want to do this. And you see the record label doing even more than the contract. You understand? And sometimes these artists jump into these deals, and I say jump into it because it's crazy when you see what they sign. And you ask them, did you sign this? They say, yeah, but they didn't know. So these days, it's clearly stated there that they are giving you 30,000 naira. It's clearly stated there.
Regardless of how much they make?
Regardless of how much you make. Because there's an upfront, which they think is a dash. It's a loan. If a record label is giving you money, they are not, it's not a charity organization. If they are giving you money and you are asking for this, that is not even tied to your music. Everything is part of the investment that has been made. So if the artist starts making money, he starts calculating from when he starts making money. He refuses to understand that 2-3 years prior to this, a certain amount has been invested on me. Do you understand? You know,
so this is like a ROI every month?
Yes, every month, every year. Some of them, they've signed a contract and they got their first break after 4 years. And what has happened prior to the 4 years? The labels have paid for rent in Lekki, car, assistants, salaries, change of wardrobe clothes, personal demands, family issues, studio fees, producer fees, and it's crazy. Plus the stipend. So the 30,000 is, you're not making money, but take this for now. Don't
you think, aside from they just coming to sign papers, don't you think there should be an agreement between their own lawyer or probably the artist lawyer or journalist to explain and not just put pen to paper?
Exactly. So that's where the problem is. That's why I said they jump into it blindfolded. So if they do that, it's not... Yes, it's the responsibility of the record label to say, bring your lawyer, but sometimes these lawyers, they are even brought by the record label. So the interest is... They can't have like a conflict of interest. The interest is strictly for the record label. So that's where I feel like I'm not saying this is a general, but most cases I've seen bad deals being signed by these artists.
Okay, now let's talk about the place of promotions, PR, social media influence, representing them on social media. Whose place is it? Is it for the record label or for the music company?
It is for the record label. It is for the record label because the record label is their responsibility to harness this talent, groom this talent, exploit this talent, and market this talent. Because when the profit starts coming in, they usually have a huge percentage. So they should be the one investing more in marketing, in pushing, in promoting. I'm not saying the artist should fold their hands and do what you need to do. But if the budget is big, some artists will tell you, oh, I was the one that paid for this, I was the one that paid for that. If you pay for this and you pay for that, don't pay cash, use transfer, send an invoice, receipts, push it, have records of that, send it to your record label, let them know that this is what I've spent, this is what I've paid, even prior to even paying for it. So they have knowledge of, okay, this is also part of our investment, this is also part of what we've spent, and you have to be refunded that as an artist.
Now let's talk about influencers and artists having issues with each other. Record label, okay, let's talk about record label now. We saw what happened between Pokoli and Portable.
Okay.
Then we saw what happened between Kaftan and the guy that sang, they sang Machala together. These people people are just influencers. In a way, we can call them PR team, though they don't belong to a record label. Coming from your perspective as a professional in the field, who would you fault among these two?
I don't really know the story. Whatever I've heard of that story, I heard out of my will on social media. I just saw it and I didn't really go. But it still boils down to expectations that are not met, and deals that are not, that are wrongly signed. So these influencers are not record labels. They want to own music and exploit the music. So they reach out to these talents, these artists, these singers. Give me music, I'll push the music, and we share or we split the profits.
The funds.
You understand? So it's the details that they lack. The details, that's where the issue is. Okay, the question should be, this honest, brutal question should be asked. How much am I getting? This is what I charge. When the music comes out, this is my percentage. There's a split sheet. That's what it's called on. So this is what the split sheet should come before the music even goes out. So that way the expectations are met and they are understood. And if there's an issue, it's being trashed beforehand. But what happens is, Baba, no worries. I've had people DM me their songs. I didn't even ask for them. I've had people tell me, Baba, just push anyhow.
Go rough farm.
Then when the money starts coming in, you now give them a percentage. They say, no, I don't want that. I want this. But no, that was not what you said initially. You said you rough it, and I'm giving you this because
I'm expecting you to rough it.
You understand? So these guys, they come to you and they act as if, anyhow, in fact, just take the music. I don't even have need for it. Just take it. My own is make the music blow. But when the music starts... But
don't you think it's them talking out of
desperation? It's not in my place to know if they are desperate or they are being honest. They are telling me what they are telling me. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to take what they tell me. Do you understand? So that's the issue. That's the situation most times. And you see on the other side, people exploiting these guys. Some of them don't even want to wait for you to be vulnerable. They will come and they will give you bad deals, sneaking some clauses there, hoping that you would
understand.
You will not get it. So it's always advisable to have anything that has to do with a contract. Get a lawyer. Just let somebody look at it. Let somebody explain it to you, because that's not your field.
Social media is now a mobile court. Everybody brings their good, bad side to social media. We watch live videos of people insulting each other. Do you think people should keep coming to social media when it comes to signing of deals between PR and influencers and record labels? Don't you think it's going to affect the music industry or maybe bring down the music industry come 2, 3, 4 years?
I didn't get the question. Social media
is now a mobile court. Everybody's come to social media. Once anything happens, everybody's rushing to social media. Once you have more than 1,000 followers, and people will listen to your side of the story. And the person who comes to social media first is the winner of the case.
Most times, yes.
Yes. So now, do you think they should stop this or they should continue to fight for their right through social media? Because if I'm your artist, you're my talent manager, and you and I had issues that we could have settled amicably out of court or with my lawyer, I decided to go to social media and people are faulting without listening to your own side of the story because I went to social media first. Do you think it will, in a way, bring down the music industry soon enough?
Oh, well, like every other thing, not just music industry, even in politics, we see it in movies, we see it on other, marriages, personal lives. Some people misunderstand or misuse social media. Social media is, like it says, is not supposed to be a courtroom. It's not supposed to be where you just vent or air out personal issues. Some things are best kept and best resolved. When so many mouths are in a situation, it's harder to even, so many opinions. You have 1,000 followers and 500 people are commenting left, right, and center, and you're reading it. You're going to get confused. And sometimes people just want validation. They just want people to tell them, even when they know they are wrong, they like sympathy, they like pity. So they go there and they just get pity and they just get sympathy. And when it's not going their way, they start ranting. So it's being used for the wrong reasons. But if you're telling me that, okay, I've gone to court, I've done this, I've done that, and I'm not getting any solution, that is why I'm here on social media. So you guys can, hear this and see, that's a different conversation. Not like the first thing that happens, boom, you've brought ring light, you brought camera, you're crying and you're ranting. No, that's different. But social media can be the last resort for a common man that has tried, every way or any way he has, in his mind to try to resolve the situation.
Okay, now, so what are the necessary questions to be asked before signing a deal with a record label?
First, you need to do your research on the record label. If you don't know the record label yet, or you don't know the owner of the record label, they don't have a reputation yet, you need to first do that research. Who have they signed? What funds do they have available on ground to push you? What structure do they have? Because you are going into a venture, you are going into a partnership, you are going into a collaboration with somebody. You need to know who you are collaborating with, who you are giving your career, your life to. So when you vet them and you see that, okay, these guys are good, they've done X, Y, Z, they are good to go, they have the resources, they have the structure, they have the funding, and my goal, my dreams align with theirs, that's fine, that's one. Two, the next question is, what do they want from me? What do they want? Like, what do they really? Some record labels just want a certain thing, some want so many things. And what are you willing to give?
To give, yes.
Are you willing to give 5 years of your career? Are you willing to give 10 years of your career? Are you willing to give this part of your rights, your music rights, your image rights? Those are the questions you need to ask. And once you answer those questions, trust me, every other thing would be, secondary.
And on the final notes now, what is or are your advice to up-and-coming artists, well-blown artists, record labels, PR influencers, and what do they need to do to remain relevant in the industry?
First, my first advice would be, one, you have to believe in yourself and you have to work hard. You don't need a manager at the first stage. You don't need a record label at the door. You don't need 1 million subscribers or followers immediately. You need to build your fan base. You need to build your target market. You need to go on social media, on regular media, or people have a force, have a market, build your ecosystem. Record yourself. Social media has helped a lot of artists. TikTok has helped a lot of artists, blow. Use that medium. You don't need $1 million at the door. You can use 50K with your phone, a good light, record yourself, freestyle, sing, tag who you need to tag. Be consistent. Don't compare your journey with somebody that has been in the industry for 5, 10 years.
Yes.
Let them motivate you. Don't use that to frustrate yourself or demoralize yourself. Start with that. 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, 2 years down the line, you would see a growth in your career, and you see people coming into your career, and that's how you start. Most times they just want to start, they want to be on the big radio stations, the big TV stations, they want to be featured by the biggest artists, they want to use the biggest producers. All these things are good, but you need to understand that it's a process.
It's growth. All right, so you were going to talk about what they need to do to stay relevant in the industry, to the well-blown artists now. Okay,
yeah, to the A-list or B-list or the artists that are up there and they want to stay relevant, it's very simple. There's something that made you relevant in the first place, and that's your core, that's your foundation. Try as much as you can not to lose it. Don't lose your fan base, don't lose your core, don't lose your style, yourself. In the process of trying to be, something else, you now lose your fan base. Because you see a lot of artists and they drop one album and they've built this momentum, these fans, and they now switch. If you want to change, don't change. You can metamorphose, you can evolve into something else. You need to carry them along. Okay, this is the process where I gave birth as a female artist. Now I'm doing music for mothers and not for single ladies anymore. You need to carry them along. As a guy, I'm no longer in my 30s, 20s, where I'll be doing this. Now I am this. You need to carry them along into the growth phase where they will grow with you. As opposed to 1 minute you are doing this, next minute you are doing that, next minute, that's how many of them fall off. But as a big artist, maintaining and carrying your core fan base along is very, very key.
On social media not too long ago, people were dragging Asake because he's choking with the fans. He's dropping songs back to back. So I'll be willing to ask, how long does it take or must it take before you release a song after dropping a hit?
Okay, so there's no
specific
time. There's no format to this, but in music evolves and music changes. How people consume music, how people take music. Now the speed is faster. Before, one hit song would take you 6 months, 1 year, you will still be hearing it. Now after 2-3 months, everybody's tired of it because how we consume music those days, radio station, TV station. After you listen to it on TV station, before you hear it again, is another. But now on your phone, you can play it on your screen,
stream it over and
over again on radio. So the consumption is faster. So people tend to want to release more music. And
so you're saying Asake is on the right path?
Asake is so far it's working. So
yes,
that means he's doing something right. So yeah, so like I said, there's no right way of doing it. It's changing, and that means everybody needs to wake up. You can't drop music after every 6 months or 1 year and expect you can still work for you regardless. But now you can do 3 months. That's what it's saying.
That's it. This is what we'll be wrapping up the interview. I say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Ben, for your time. Thank you for enlightening me and to the viewers at home, because I have learned a lot and I'm very sure they also have learned a lot. One thing I've learned and I'll be wrapping up with is consistency. Whatever you find yourself doing, be consistent with it and don't produce substandard. We want to see the standard. We want you to work on yourself before taking yourself out to the public. Let's go back to the studios.